Hi, I'm Lisa, and welcome to the Simply Healthy Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some fabulous dark chocolate bark with quinoa, raspberries, and you're going to think it is amazing. Let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about the ingredients for this amazing chocolate bark. And you might be wondering, how are we going to incorporate quinoa into this chocolate? Stay with me and you're going to find out. The first thing we need, of course, is chocolate. A good quality dark chocolate. This happens to be 60% raw cacao. You can use a higher cacao content if you'd like. I have white quinoa here, Turbinado sugar, which is that larger crystal dark sugar, and some freeze-dried raspberries. These are amazing. Flavor bombs right here. The way we're going to get the quinoa into the chocolate is we're going to caramelize the quinoa on the stove with the sugar. Once we caramelize it, we're going to pour it onto a parchment lined baking tin, and we're going to let that cool. While that's cooling, we're going to melt our chocolate chips. After our chocolate chips are melted, well, let's just pick it up there. So I have on the stove a cast iron skillet, and I really like cooking with cast iron because once it heats up, it provides that really good even heat. So I'm going to turn our pan on medium to medium high. I'm going to go with a medium high right now. And we're going to add our quinoa right to the pan and our sugar. Get that out of the way. Notice that I have the parchment lined baking sheet right here ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir this in the pan. Do not walk away from this. It will take you 7-8 minutes to get this sugar melted and the quinoa toasted. And what we're looking for is we're looking for a nice overall caramel brown color with all the sugar melted in the pan. So we're just going to keep stirring this until we see that sugar melting and the quinoa starting to deepen in its color. Okay, so you see how this is all starting to melt. The sugar is starting to clump up and it's starting to melt, and you also hear this little popping sound, kind of like mini popcorn. Some of the quinoa is actually popping. Look at that color change of the quinoa too. It's gotten a lot darker, and this is what we're looking for. As soon as the sugar gets all completely melted, we're gonna pour it onto here. You'll notice it'll happen in maybe about 1 minute, but it happens really fast. I'm adjusting my fire down just a little bit. I don't want this quinoa to burn. And here we go, this is it. We're gonna pour this out onto the parchment. Get it out as fast as possible. We want that to cool down. Spread it out. Turn our fire off. And now just let this cool. While we let this cool, we're going to melt our chocolate. Okay, so we want to put the chocolate in the microwave for increments of 30 seconds to begin with. In fact, just maybe one increment of 30 seconds. Take it out, stir it. It will not be all melted yet. Then put it back in the microwave for 10 seconds at a time. It seems like a lot and you might need to do it 4 or 5 times, but it will keep your chocolate from scorching. You definitely don't want to go to all this trouble and have your chocolate all scorched. Stir each time. Put it back in the microwave for 10 seconds until it's all nice and melted and creamy. Okay, so our chocolate is all melted. Look at that, doesn't it look nice and glossy and delicious? It's ready to receive this toasted quinoa. So what we're gonna do is take that quinoa that's cooled now, and really, see, you don't have to crumble too much, but there are some pieces that are larger. You do want to crush those up a little bit, just so you don't have any big chunks of it. You might want big chunks, I don't know. I like it to be more distributed throughout the chocolate. So then it's really, really simple from here. We're gonna take this quinoa. I'm actually gonna reserve, a little handful to sprinkle on the top. I guess that's about half of it. And I'm going to incorporate this other half into the quinoa, into the chocolate. It's gonna give a nice little crunch inside of the chocolate and a little surprise. Next, we're going to take those dried raspberries, freeze-dried raspberries, and we're gonna use a little baggie. We're going to take them, reserve a few just for the top, to be pretty on the top. We're gonna put them in a bag and we're going to crush them up. So, if you have anything you need to get your aggression out on, this works. I'm gonna press down. If you have a little rubber mallet in your kitchen, I don't, but hey, you might have one in your kitchen. You can use that. You can also use the back of a cup or like this little bowl. The idea is just to kind of get it powdered up. And you can see it does that pretty quickly. There we go. Powdered, dried raspberry goodness. Now I'm gonna add about, and my fingers are gonna get really pink. It's pretty. If you don't wear fingernail polish, hey, alternative. Put about half of that into the chocolate, stir that around, and then we're gonna want to spread this chocolate out on that same parchment paper. I'm gonna go ahead and move this over here. Spread that chocolate out all along. Oh gosh, there's enough left there for somebody to lick the bowl. And then I'm gonna take a flat spatula and I'm gonna spread it. Remember, this is gonna cool off and we're gonna break it into pieces, and so we don't want really huge, thick pieces of bark. Bark should be nice and thin and crispy. All right, once you get it spread out to about the thickness that you think you want it to be, I'm gonna go a little bit more this way. All right. Remember that reserved quinoa? I'm gonna take it, crumble it all over the top. People will get a hint of what's inside, though they might be confused. They might not even know what this actually is. It just looks like brown, crunchy goodness. And I'm gonna take some raspberries, some of our crushed dried raspberries, and sprinkle that on top. Look at that. The colors just are so beautiful. I don't know, when you cook with things that are beautiful, I think it just makes you feel good. Not only feel good, but this is actually not a bad treat to have. All right, a little bit more. And remember, this is going to get all broken up, so you're not gonna see how it looks here. Then if you really want, you can take those large ones and just put a few big pieces here and there. Maybe even give somebody, the treat of a whole raspberry somewhere. I don't know, do whatever you want. But you want to then go, and this is really fun. You want to go and kind of press so that quinoa and the raspberry all gets stuck to the chocolate really well. And then the hard part, we've got to wait. We've got to wait for about, 20 minutes or so for this to cool down. You can speed it up by putting it in your freezer or refrigerator. So we're gonna do that and see you back in a minute. Okay, we have our chocolate. It's been in the refrigerator. It's nice and solid, and it's ready to be broken up. As someone once told me, breaking up is hard to do, but I don't think this is gonna be too hard. Just gonna put a little pressure on there, break it into a bunch of little pieces. Whatever size pieces you think you might want people to eat. Takes a few minutes to do this. All right, so you can see we've gotten it all nice and broken up now. See if there's any pieces that are maybe a little bit bigger than you'd like them. Cut them. No, don't cut them. Break them up. And that is it. You are done. Just go ahead and put them on a plate. And then you can serve them. But before you serve them, I think you should try them. I think I want this little piece with the quinoa and the raspberries and everything. It's really, really good. I'm always surprised. I don't know why, but it's really good. You get the pop and crunch of the quinoa and the really tart and kind of sweet, bright flavor of the raspberry. It's just delicious. I hope you try this. If you got value out of the time we spent together today, hit that subscribe or notification bell and you'll be notified every time that we make something like this delicious dark chocolate raspberry quinoa bark. Keep it simple, healthy, and tasty, and I'll see you next time in the Simply Healthy Kitchen.